Welcome to the Scott Outpost Investigators podcast, an endgame focused podcast for Zenless Zone Zero, where we talk all things endgame. Today's conversation is going to be about the new update for Threshold Simulation. I believe the name is Myriad Escape or Defense or something along those lines. Cannot actually see the name. But we are going to be talking about the updated Threshold Simulation, all the changes that it has, the new boss lineups, everything that we've kind of missed out on since the last Threshold Simulation, and everything in between. And today, I am hosting Savadra, because Softy is unable to make it, but I am still joined by our two primary co-hosts, by Thirsty Blood.
Greetings everyone and welcome.
And Dio is bored.
I don't think I'm really primary, but hello.
Well, you're here often enough, I feel.
Yeah, you're primary enough, definitely, to be a part of here. So yeah, welcome.
But yeah, we are going to be talking the Threshold Simulation, and it will be a cool, grand old time. The hard mode of the Threshold Simulation was changed at the start of patch 2.6 with the introduction of Suna and the Angels of Delusion. So let's jump right into what changed overall with Threshold Simulation. There is now a distinct difference that you can see between the easy mode and the hard mode, because the previous hard cycle was more reflective of the story length of easy mode. There were 4 battles and 3 story nodes, and you could choose between 3 different endings. But now Threshold Simulation has been truncated into 3 battles with 2 distinct endings, and basically all of the intermediate story writing that was goofy and fun was taken out, and the only story that you now get is the distinction between the 2 endings.
Which
so,
is kind of sad.
gents,
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Let's go into that.
Well, if I can start with this, so like I just played it and I was like, there's just battles and no story. So this was the first impression I had, and I was a little bit disappointed, because it's like in the previous one you really had a reference point, and now it's like after 2 battles you're suddenly somewhere and you have no reference. Like there was no build up nor not anything. It doesn't even correlate to the easy mode storyline. It's just there, and I'm like, story-wise, it's kind of boring. The advantage of the last Threshold Simulation was it had like basically 3 to 4 storylines, which were also connected to the easy mode, and it was, I think, more enjoyable to read. Right now I just seeped through and was like, oh, it's about the idols. Aha, I see, some detective thingy. Okay, well, I jumped through it, read it a little bit, and did the fight, and that's it. Which basically gives away a little bit of the charm of Threshold Simulation. But yeah, that's like the first impression I have about with the storyline itself. Dio, what do you think about it?
I mean, this is more talking about the story outside, but it really was the first Threshold was a lot more refreshing because everything was being, how do I say, really serious in the past few patches. But I don't particularly mind. I mean, the threshold timer is what, 1 patch, I believe.
I think it was 2 patches
I would
or
think it's
3.
still more than 1 patch, because this one was updated after the first introduction of it was 2.3, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it came with Yidhari and Lucia, so yeah, it was introduced in 2.3
okay.
and this now 2.6, so it was updated after 3 patches.
Okay, my mistake was I was looking at the event timer.
Right.
I see.
I would open the game to check, but my internet's being dodgy for some reason.
That's fine, it happens.
But it seems like we're going back to a sort of goofy storytelling in the main story, so I don't see a particular loss. It is sad that Simulation is now a shell of itself, but the game's made up for it in other aspects.
I don't feel that it's a shell of itself. I think it's still fundamentally the same concept. There's just one less 5-team stage that's there. Because the stage that was taken out was basically stage 3 of the old version, or Battle 3.
Right.
Because now it exists with Battles 1 and 2, which are both 4-team, 4-team maximum stages. And then both of the endings, which you can only play one of at a time, but are both 5-stage endings, or 5-stage battles. So it's not like really a shell of itself, it's just slightly less. I think it makes it a little easier for you to get through. Perhaps is also in the scheme of being Threshold Simulation, where like it's unlocked at level 55 of Internaut. It's probably a little easier to get into for the first 2, because you can clear a majority of it now with 4 teams instead of just clearing half of it with 4 teams and maybe scraping by with like 4.5 or 5 in the other 2 nodes. But maybe it's good for the health of the game, because at the time that it was introduced, the big question was basically like, did it release at the right time? And like, I guess while we thought that it was released at a good time and like is good for accounts with a pretty good age and like gives people enough buffer time in order to get their rosters up and built and such. The main thing was the concern of needing up to 15 agents in order to clear things, and I think this mitigates that burden a little bit more. Mitigates that burden by removing some of the stages that like would have required that full maximum. So I think it's
That is
alright.
fair.
I just also miss the storytelling, because it's a goofy story.
I don't feel like those 2 concepts should be linked. That's the issue.
Yeah.
No, which 2 concepts?
The 5-team stages and extra endings.
Yeah, the story is like, for what I said before, like it's a little bit sad that there are no story nodes in between the battle nodes. Like the 2 pathway, I don't really mind, to be honest, because it's kinda, you could say time saving. You don't have to retry too often. The battle amount, you have basically I think 4 battles if I remember now correctly. They could have just, added like story pieces again in between these battle modes. Like the first 2 nodes are just battling without anything. Then you have story with 2 paths, and then you have the end game, the last battle. And they could have just put in some story nodes in between. This is the only thing I would ask. Otherwise, the Threshold itself is still super fun, and I still love it that they have implemented it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll hold to that.
Yeah, still fundamentally the same, and like I do still enjoy it. Got a nice little change in all of the lineups, and we can go right into that as well, with talking about Battle 1, with the only leftover boss from the prior Threshold, being the Wandering Hunter as the like final battle of the stage. And then for all of the other stages, we have an elite stage with the Typhon Challenger and Flame Cantor, then a elite stage with the Covenant Guardian and a bunch of miasma spawns, and those are kind of whatever. And then the optional stage is Palicus. So
Palicus.
how'd you all feel about that?
So from my point, since I rushed through it, I just used my basic main teams I generally use. So against Hunter, I used my M6 Hitari. Watch out, it is M6, so of course I'm a whale. We just don't have to, we don't have to continue on that one here. I think I had, on the optional one, I used Hitari, Nicole, and Shao for a change. It was also a pretty fun team, to be honest, against Pelicus. And I used Alice, Vivian, Yusuha. I don't know which enemy it was exactly, but I used that team as well, including what was the other one? Something else.
Covenant Guardian?
Yeah, against the Covenant Guardian. I think my Corin team, of course. Yeah, sure. How could I forget my Corin? Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't easy clear for me, but my account is probably not the best reference for players who are more like F2P or newer. I played a little bit with different buffs though. Most of the time it was anomaly focused or ultimate focused. I think I only used once the tempering one when I got to play with Soldier 11 later on, but this is a different line. Overall, it was super fun, and for me the advantage was, since I have enough discs and gear, I didn't have to switch around, which allowed me to rush through it so easily. So basically at the end I used the same team or throughout the whole Threshold simulation.
Yeah, I was in a fairly similar boat. I do not have M6 Idahari. I have the highest mindscape I have is an M2 Bernius, but I did use that Bernius with the Piper, and I also made a neat little introduction to some of my team diversity by throwing that with Lycon for the Typhon Challenger stage, and it kind of shredded a lot. And I know this is like the first one, the first stage, so the enemies are kind of weaker, but like, damn, it kind of shredded. The Lycon buff is proving to be a lot more fun and making him a lot more versatile than I was like anticipating, and I'm very happy with it. But I used Piper Bernice for the Typhon Challenger, then I had Bonyue and Pan and Dial-In for the Covenant Guardian. I Yuzu iced the Palicus because I could not be bothered to deal with Palicus RNG, so you don't gotta deal with that when they're just perma-frozen all the time. So I went with that, and then I played Idhari Fufu Lucia into Hunter.
Nice.
So pretty heavy on the ruptures compared to my anomalies. It was like an even split. I didn't use a single attacker for myself.
Oh, nice.
Mood.
Interesting though, because we used the same team on Yutari. Yutari, Fufu, and Lucia.
How much more did I score than you?
I don't know. Did you use Yutari on Hunter as well?
Yes, I did.
Wait, I killed Hunter. I think I was on close to 150,000 or something.
Okay, I got 136,
So,
but
yeah.
okay.
I screwed a little bit though. I screwed a little bit over. I think the second stun window was scuffed because it came so fast before he even got into the miasma phase.
Yeah, Fufu's pretty good at that. I've like almost figured out how to get 5 stuns against Hunter with Fufu, and like it's kind of insane, but
Yeah.
can also talk briefly about the buffs in this one. You mentioned Tempering Body was a buff, and like that Tempering Body is pretty apparent, I think, in all 3 stages, regardless of the ending you choose. I don't actually know, I'm gonna have to look. But for stage 1, there's Tempering Body, Pinnacle, Aberration, and Ride the Current. And if people remember, in one of the episodes a while ago, at the start of 2.3, Pinnacle had come out, and I had an hour-long crash out about it. And I will now rectify that crash out by saying basically exactly what I thought would happen happened, in that we have more Rupture agents, and so Pinnacle is not as bad of a buff in terms of class exclusivity and all that stuff, but also the class exclusivity clauses have become more apparent as time has gone on, and bar them introducing a completely new class in the future, say season 3, this is probably as far as it should go, because any further introduction of a new class, or like if they pivot their focus to something like the defense class, for example, because everybody knows the defense class is kind of a lost identity type of thing and like needs some help in terms of what the agents are actually doing that are not being compared to supports. If something like that starts coming around and then they're like, we're gonna make defense exclusive clauses, but most of the game is, or like most of the agents are not built to play around like defense agents. So when those start coming around and you start losing out on additional abilities or have to like pigeonhole yourself into using specific agents in order to take advantage of buffs for that class, or say a new class comes out, then it'll become a problem again, and I will probably crash out about it again. But as it currently stands, we have 4 Rupture agents in Monato, Yishuan, Idhari, and Banyue. And one of them can activate Ether Veil by themselves. If you don't have Lucia, everybody got Zhao for free if you're playing during this patch or played during 2.5, who can also activate Ether Veil. And despite the fact that Zhao does not buff Sheer, she still gives you the ability to take advantage of Pinnacle in its entirety, so
True.
it's kind of fine. Also, Suna now exists, and she also gives an Ether Veil, even though she doesn't work with Rupture at all. But
She gives it.
you have more ways to access Ether Veil, and also, like, it's kind of situationally stupid because you wouldn't use Pinnacle with YSG, but Yeshengguang also has her own Ether Veil. So, just in the pure aspect of the complaint that I had before, where it was a underdeveloped mechanic that like may have not expanded out of being Rupture exclusive, it did in fact expand out of being Rupture exclusive. So, all that in mind, I'm not upset at Pinnacle anymore. For now.
Just minorly, sure.
And there, that took like, what, 5 minutes? Maybe a little over 7? It's fine.
I don't like Cantor.
True! Flame
but
Cantor
why?
is definitely an enemy of all time.
Why? He's fun.
He feels like a boss that isn't.
He's just
That's all.
He's just a beefy, good boss.
Well, that's the problem.
He has full voice
not a
lines.
boss.
I like it that he's one of those
He's a-
who permanently talks and rages out.
He's an
I
an
shall
elite.
find the unclean.
But yeah,
But yeah.
That's about it.
I'm
Flame
actually
Cantor,
the buffs I think
Exist.
are fine. They are quite specific, and we also have a few new ones that are again very specific. And I have the buffs right now on screen, which is funny. I'm on the second.
Yeah.
I'm on the second battle though. So
yeah, we can move on to that, but I'll quickly just mention because I didn't mention them before. Tempering Body is basically the attack specialty buff. You can use it with pretty much any attacker, and Pinnacle is the Rupture specialty one. You can use it with any Rupture, and you do also want Ether Veil, so Lucia and Zhao are valuable when using that buff. Aberration is a generalist anomaly buff that also buffs disorder damage, so really good for disorder focused teams overall instead of hypercarry anomalies, but is also good for Yanagi and Alice in solo anomaly situations. And then Ride the Current is the YSG buff of the threshold. So if you have Ye Guang, you're ever using her in a stage, you're basically always using Ride the Current.
True.
And that's about it for Battle 1. Battle 2, things change a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of bit. Because the buffs, Tempering Body carries over, but the YSG buff changes from Ride the Current to Focus Energy, which is mostly the same things, but still focuses on like everything that Ye Guang would want. And then the anomaly buffs changed from a super generalist anomaly buff to Transformation Charge, which focuses on ether and physical. And so it is very good for using like Piper, Jane, or Alice alongside Vivian. Or, since this patch is going to extend, or I mean, this threshold is going to extend for at least the next banner and the next patch and thereon, you can also use this buff with Arya when she comes out. And I think 15 days as of this recording.
I think 16
Um,
or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arya will be able to use this for at least a little bit, despite the fact that most of her damage is focused on Ablooms. The Abloom damage is reliant on the damage of the anomaly itself, and so any boost to anomaly damage is still good for Abloom damage. And then Sonata, which is focused around ultimates, is just generally good for attackers and ruptures because it is not specific to either one of them and also doesn't focus on defense shred or anything like that. But it does ignore damage res, which is just a generally good stat for every crit attacker. It's also pretty decent for anomaly if you're like building your anomaly on crits. And I play Crit Bernice a fair amount, so that's pretty good for me. But yeah, these stage 2 buffs are a little more focused, I think, overall, in like who can use them where, but you still get a good amount of use out of them with regards to the entire like stage lineups. What do you guys think?
Do you?
I mean, I don't really have a complaint about anything that was said. Like, I'm kind of. Sev mostly has the same sort of takes I'll have because we have very similar accounts. The only thing he has rupture, I don't. Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty heavily anomaly pilled, but I have been working the past few patches on my crit DPSs, so I've leaned into the rupture archetype, and will also be getting a couple more attackers to round out the overall efficacy of my roster. But yeah,
I'm pretty well invested in all 3 categories. So, be it either rupture, anomaly, or attacker, I have basically everything ready at my arsenal. Usually, since I'm one of those people who like to optimize with team builds, etc., I adapt my team builds with the buffs on the regular. But I do have a favorite team I kinda always play, and that is Corrin. So Corrin and Itari are basically my main teams I always use to begin with some content clearing. And then usually if I want to like chase high scores, etc., I pump out like different team comps. Or if I want to be a little bit more creative, I do other stuff. Like for instance, before that, using Miyabi with Xiao and Nicole is like a little bit of a different approach when I did this in the first stage of the battle. Simply because I just wanted to go like hyper carry Miyabi. And it's an interesting combo because Miyabi gets her passive up thanks to Nicole. and you can focus a little bit more in theory on crit damage if you change your build, which I didn't, so we don't talk about that. Because I was lazy in the rush, so anyway. But yeah, overall I used like... Stage 2 was quite good for my, Alice and Vivian run, because I got Alice before, which I didn't have before the banner. The new banner I think we got in 2.5. So yeah, and of course I used my Yetari against Thrall again, and actually had so much skill issue that I didn't kill Thrall, which is like, yeah, even that happens if I don't lock in.
Wow.
Unfortunate.
But the buffs are good, honestly. Well rounded up. You can use everything. Tempered Body gives you the advantage with basic attacks. Agents like Soldier 11, Shu Yuan. And who do we else have? I think Seed also has a little advantage with this Tempering Body. So you can...
Yeah.
You have... This buff is really good for those agents. Then you have the Anomaly buffs and the Rupture buffs, and it all comes together that you need different teams. The game basically forces you to use different teams, but also different different classes on the DPS side. But also rewards you with buffs therefore. And usually what I noticed is that most of the buffs are also a little bit adapted to the enemy's weakness, which is basically a nice little goodie the game gives you on top of that. It forces you maybe a little bit to go like really to the niche side here and use certain teams, but at the same time I think you have like 1 or 2 general buffs, like Aberration for instance was a general anomaly buff, so it allows you the freedom of team building, which is for me important as someone who loves to use a variety of team. If you're someone who has a vertical invested account, this might not apply to you. But yeah.
Yeah.
I
can definitely get behind what you're talking about with that. Because I don't think it applies for this stage as much, but I definitely did choose to use Transformation Charge and an Anomaly team on Jester, which is one of the required stages, because I was like, alright, I've usually played Anomaly into Jester, and it's mostly fine most of the time, so I just played Alice, Jane, and Yuzuha into that, and then other enemies. Avarice is the other required stage for this battle too. The optional stage is Miasmic Hugo, and then the boss, as Thirsty mentioned, was Yeshu and the Thrall. Into Avarice, I played Bonyue again, because I like playing Bonyue. He's cool. And then into Hugo, I played more Piper Bernice, because I also like playing Piper Bernice, but he kind of parries a lot in order to make Anomaly work very well, and specifically Piper, because you kind of need her to hit the enemy while she's doing her spin, or else you're just kind of wasting energy. So that was a time. But yeah, I did also, surprisingly, not use Transformation Charge on that one, because I used Tempering Body, and I don't know if that was an accident or I just didn't choose it correctly, but I did in fact use Tempering Body for that because of the damage percent and damage res and increase attack, which I feel like is better for like one anomaly or like not strictly disorder focused than maybe Transformation Charge. If I used Vivian, I would have used Transformation Charge, but I'm not sure why I did that actually. I didn't even realize I did that until I said it out loud, so we'll just pretend that Tempering Body is better and not worry about it. But yeah. For Thrall, I also used Tempering Body on Ellen, and I got to play Ellen into Thrall, guys. It was great. She's good. This Thrall is also different than the Thrall from the previous, like, Deadly Assaults. basically its stage condition was changed. So before the stage condition was every stack of contracts. Well, not every stack of contract does the same, but every stack of self-sacrifice used to increase the stun damage multiplier for the thrall. But since Yeshengguang came out, they changed it so that it reduces the thrall's defense by 8% for every stack of self-sacrifice. So now instead of, I think it was 15% stun damage multiplier, now instead of that, it's 8% defense per stack. So it is now 24 defense total.
Interesting.
But yeah, that does make Rupture slightly worse into Thrall overall, because they can't take advantage of that anymore. But yeah, I played Ellen into it anyway, because Ellen is cool, and she can score well, and it's great.
How much?
I got 102k
Damn, I just
with
got...
Dialin and Astra.
I got on screen right now, it was 129k with Hitari, but I messed up again, so... I should be able to kill with that team if I focus a little bit more. Dio, by the way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What kind of team did you use against the Thrall? Since Sevadra went against Thrall with Ellen.
I'm gonna be real. I don't want to talk about it.
But why?
Listen, Miyabi is fine against Thrall, okay?
She
You
works.
we
Yeah.
can agree.
I mean,
Miyabi works.
Yeah,
but
you got
It's,
the S-rank, right?
It's a skill issue, and a mix of skill issue and going up against hell on a handbasket for anomaly teams. Man.
It's okay. I believe in you. You can...
I don't believe in me. That's the big problem.
Surely you got the S-rank, right? I mean, Miyabi can bite through
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, my Miyabi Vivian can force through anything,
Let's go.
but using Miyabi Vivian to get through something and it not going so well does not feel good when I have so many mindscapes.
Yeah, understandable. It's fine though. I mean, Thrall is anti-anomaly, so... And probably also the hardest boss with anti-anomaly. After the before Defiler, after Defiler? No, Defiler is a little bit less worrisome for anomaly, but Thrall is like more difficult with the Croc. So yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the mechanic reductions that you get from the bosses, I think the order would be Thrall, then Nightmare, then Defiler.
Right.
But-
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Even though I wonder, I even think that Nightmare is third place and Defiler is up one on second place, simply because of the anchor. Since Primordial Nightmare can be done with doesn't really have any anti-anomaly mechanic-wise, not buff-wise, debuff-wise. Thrall has the Croc, Defiler has the Anchor, that is, you have to have pure damage, And Nightmare is simply just a debuff for Anomaly, but has no mechanic that prevents you, or maybe kills you with it, you know what I mean? So
I suppose you're right on that.
Yeah.
I think it would be between Defiler having the dagger, which is a short-term damage check, versus Nightmare being half defense, which doesn't benefit Anomaly as much as you think it would, because you're not able to the scaling damage of Anomaly plus the fact that sorry,
Bless you.
plus the fact that it will it has the I'm forgetting what it's called. Oh my god, why did I just blank on that? Let's try that again. The anomaly like damage doesn't go up as much with the defense being lowered to half its base value. And on top of that, the anomaly damage is being reduced by the stage mechanic. And you're not getting more or less like, well, okay, technically you're getting less because it has more base anomaly buildup than like average, I think.
True. Yeah.
But you're basically proccing anomaly as often as you would on like an anomaly focused boss like Fiend, but the anomalies are just strictly doing less damage. So it's up between those two trade-offs as to which one is worse between Defiler and Nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I like fucking lost the words for half a second there.
I
It
mean,
happens.
as a monophysical player alongside of being anomaly, who would have thunk it? That Thrall is definitely harder.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is definitely the hardest from all these anti-anomaly shields. So, what's your opinion on between Defiler and Nightmare? What would you say to you?
Okay. So Defiler allows a lot of defensive assists, which I kind of like as Vivian, but other than that, I don't like those same counters. The cutscene I don't like, but to be fair, they both kind of have it. However, the other one has it as their miasma, so I kind of prefer Defiler as a person to person.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Even though I do feel its attacks to anomaly is tighter. But the crocodile is very annoying unless you're using Miyabi.
Of course.
No, that's completely fair.
That's completely fair.
We can scooch on over to the Nightmare stage because,
Let's go.
as we mentioned before, the threshold was now truncated to only be 2 endings. So the second ending of the threshold simulation is now the Nightmare, the Primordial Nightmare. I just had to
I see.
click some story first or to see the stage lineup. But
Oh, sweet, kill me.
Interesting. I mean, on screen right now, Silvatra, if I can shortly interrupt you, we have the 4 buffs of the first stage, though, from the first boss stage. So,
Oh, for the first ending?
yeah, for the first ending with the new boss, with the Vesper, and right now we see the 4 buffs, if you don't mind interrupting.
Sure.
Not
Then-
anymore, anyways. I moved
Alright
on.
then.
That's
The
good.
good one.
Curse you, thirsty blood!
It's fine.
So we can just go over them anyway, but yeah, I guess we'll talk about the first ending then, which has enemy lineups of the Hator, the Miasmic Lightfoot Rover, and the Shield Omega robot things
Yeah,
that
two
kind of
miasma
do their thing
robots.
together. And then the Miasma Walker Scorps are all the required stages. The optional stage is
Isolde.
the Defector, Isolde. And then the final boss is the 2.6 patch boss, the Discordant Solo, which, spoiler alert, is an intelligent construct that you might want to get a look at because it talks about,
Oh, no.
or it's related to yokai from the intelligent AIs that were dripped a long time ago in the initial lore story thing.
Dum, dum, dum.
But yeah,
Oh
so
my god, it's like Fairy's brother.
but yeah, those were the enemies and the buffs themselves. Aberration comes back as a generalist anomaly buff. Tempering Body is still here, so Tempering Body exists for all 3 stages in the first ending at least.
True.
Meditation comes up and is good for Rupture overall. Increases HP and ultimate damage. Is really good for Yi Xuan, but also buffs Ether and Ice damage. So Idhari can also use this buff really well.
Indeed.
And then the Blazing Sweep, which is a buff we haven't seen before. It decreases all attribute res and decreases ether res, and then focuses specifically on attribute anomaly damage, a bloom damage specifically, and more buildup from chain attacks.
True.
And so there is exactly one agent who can use this all currently in the game, and her name is Dio's favorite agent, Vivian. But this buff was
Superiority.
also maybe not obviously, but to me at least kind of obviously built for the upcoming Arya.
Dum,
So
dum, dum.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
obviously, if it worked for Vivian, it's gonna work for Arya. They have very similar like basic kits.
Yeah.
In execution, they're completely different, as far as I know.
and we
But-
won't go too much into that
Yeah.
because it'll still be out for 2 weeks or so. But yeah, Vivian and Arya taking advantage of Blazy Sweep very well, and it's very good for both of them. And the Discordant Solo is a boss who is only Ether weak, but is Ice and Fire resistant, and is generally also weak to Anomaly because its stage mechanic reads as it basically decreases crit damage of raw attacks that are dealt against it, which is entirely its own thing, but don't just wait, it gets better. Because it also has a stage mechanic specifically for using Ether Veil in battle. And by doing so, you increase anomaly buildup rate and anomaly damage in the stage mechanic itself. So just having an Ether Veil agent in your team increases your anomaly damage. And if you don't have Suna, then Zhao becomes kind of invaluable for this fight. At least as far as I can tell.
True.
I haven't tried Zhao versus like Yuzuha or Astra and Anomaly teams here yet, but I cleared this with Jane, Vivian, and Yuzuha, and it was not a high score. It was 69k.
I see.
Nice.
But I did get all the performance points and impaired a few times, and I got both shutdowns for both of the control skills because she has 2 control skills that she plays throughout the fight. One at the very beginning and then one halfway through the fight. Does a second sequence of parries. And they're both distinct and kind of hard to tell from what I played. The kind of does a little subtle movements before actually doing her swing for the first control skill, and then the second control skill just has really short timing tells that you kind of have to react to a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
I used.
So we'll talk more about Vesper overall in the proper episode when she debuts in Deadly Assault. But what are you guys' first impressions? How do you feel?
Well, she is definitely, control skill wise, definitely one of the harder ones I have witnessed so far. Later on in the battle you see on screen, I messed up the first control skill again. Funny enough, the first time the control skill was active, I nailed it 100%. But ever since then, I always messed it up. I haven't played her a lot though. I think this was now the 4th time I'm playing with her. The second control skill is easier, definitely to do. I forgot always at the end there is another hit delayed, so this also happens. I went in with Yuzuha, Alice and Vivian, Alice and Vivian both on M0. My user high is M2. I got like close to 100k. I think it was 98 per thousand or so, because I have user M2. So this allowed me to
I'm gonna
go-
have to try Alice out on that fight because I
Yeah.
thought Jane would do at least modestly okay, and I guess she kind of did, getting 70k. But if Alice is a 20k increase,
I mean, I have
then
user M2, don't
that's
forget
something.
that. So it's probably, I have disorder bonus and an extra chain attack, which allows me to play a little bit harder on that part here. I will try probably Shao at some point, might be interesting.
You also get more blooms with your chain attacks, so your Vivian's also better.
Exactly, yeah. So there's a... it's also not played optimal, this was just one run, this was the first try, so...
I see.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just one run and done thing, basically. Dio, how did you proceed with Vesper? Did you go out with Miyabi again?
She's I tried to force a Jane.
Oh, cool.
It worked legally. I will say she's very musical, and
Yeah.
I kind of regret my actions for choosing that team.
Hey, Jane
It
has...
existed.
Yeah. Jane has 3
I'm probably
dodges.
gonna. I will not say that I am done just yet. It's gonna be a while. Get back to me next week. If I'm here.
You got that. You got it, bud.
Yeah, we
I might be
believe.
looking like SpongeBob in that one picture.
Oh, God.
It's fine. It can't be
Yeah,
that bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the stage's like music, like overall. I like the techno vibe it gets, and the
Yep.
I learned like from looking up the song on YouTube. Shoutouts to Finding Purposes, who just uploads the OSTs for everything.
So true.
The song actually has like 3 phases because of the 2 control skills. It like has its little opening theme right before the first control skill, and then it goes straight into a phase 2 loop and melody before the second control skill, and then after the second control skill it has a phase 3, and it just like ramps up 3 times, and it's so cool. I love that song.
Yeah, it's a
like-
really cool song on the stage. I love it too. Good one.
I enjoyed the instrumental and like the like cinematic feel of the like Thrall and Nightmare stage boss music, but like I think just in general as a whole of like we're moving things back to what the core of Zenless feels like, and we like mentioned this a couple of times, but like the boss music for Discordant Solo just sounds so nice to hear, in my opinion. And it helps that I'm partial to EDM overall, but yeah. Good music.
Indeed.
I mean, this is the big reason I got into the game was the music. It just seemed different from everything else, and I'm happy that they keep working on it. And they've gone to something that's almost adjacent to their roots, if not right on it, because they have been sort of flowing away from that. I don't know the right name. Never mind then. Savadra, you could probably know what all the base game music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the actual genre, but
Yeah, it's a couple of genres, but like I definitely get what you mean.
Yeah, I think it's mainly due to the change of places we had. Like 2.x was mainly in the phylum heights, which is more like a representation about Chinese culture. And of course, the music ever since then was different than what we were used in the first patch in 1.x, where everything.
Disclaimer: that isn't to say it's bad.
No,
But continue.
yeah, exactly. It's just different. The vibe was different, and the music therefore was also different. So this was a whole vibe switch, and there will be many people liking it. There will be plenty of people disliking it, and it is fine. So as we can see, now we are switching back to the 6th Street area, and probably the music will be adapted again for these future battles and bosses we will receive. No more Hunter music as well, because that was a pain in the ass.
I will say about the actual showings of the fight, it very much is the attack pattern I would want out of a character rather than a boss, and it feels like I'm playing Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah.
Over again.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. But overall, I think the music of ZZZ generally is good, because they do have their basically own music studio behind, working on it. And Sansi is definitely cooking a lot. Good music. So yeah, I appreciate it a lot. And I like to use it a lot as well.
Yeah. Shoutouts. Discordant solo, very cool. We'll have more to say on it next time when it comes out in Deadly Assault.
Exactly.
But that covers the first ending for Threshold Simulation. So now we can move on to the second ending, where the the stage lineups are, different, but probably suited better for people who have Yishengwang, because if you don't have Yishengwang, this this boss is kind of a nightmare. And then Discordant Solo is going to be good if you're getting the Angel's Delusion, but regardless of all that, the required stages in Ending 2 are the Miasmic Terroraptor, the Lock Spring, aka the Mecha Bang Boo.
Oh, nice.
You do fight that at some point in the story, and it is becoming a actual enemy that they're putting into other game modes like Threshold, and I've also seen it in Hollow Zero.
Let's go.
Probably gonna make an appearance in Shiyu at some point, but we'll wait and see.
Oh god.
But yeah, Lock Spring is there, and then also the Miasmic Thracian is the third required stage. The optional stage is the Miasmic Komono Monoto. And then the boss is, of course, the Primordial Nightmare.
I was just thinking about it. If they're going to make them a character, when are we getting Eos as a character? Because they tend to make doppelgangers, and that's sort of a reverse doppelganger scenario. But that'll be later.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
True.
Doppelganger Eos, once we get our faith in eye powers and destroy everything, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Trust.
Would be fun, yeah.
But yeah.
Nice. And definitely we go with Corrin against Nightmare. That's for sure.
I will say, I don't want to talk about it. If you're going to ask how I did, I don't want to talk about it.
All right, fair enough. You don't have to.
I can see the Miyabi gameplay.
I haven't properly tried this ending yet, because I cleared the first ending 2 hours before we recorded, just to have an idea of what everything was. But I can basically look at this and say what I would plan to play, because surprisingly enough, it might be buff dependent, and I do think tempering body might actually just make my Corrin better for Nightmare. But if it's not strictly buff dependent, then my best scoring team on Primordial Nightmare is Crit Bernice, Lighter, Yuzuha.
Yeah.
And that's not an exaggeration. That's just actually my best scoring team in like what I've played of Nightmare for the past 2 Deadly Assaults that she's been in. So I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
test that, but my Corrin has been
Oh.
somewhat competitive based on I think in the first Deadly Assault, she came like 2k off or so when I used Zhao because the Ether Veil buff was just that good.
Yeah.
But this current Deadly Assault, because we're recording this during season 31, but the buff is not as good, and so
This-
my
We're not
Corrin
in
falls
season
behind my
31.
Kryptonite a lot. Oh, is it not
We're
season
in-
31?
31 is when Discorded Melody becomes a Dia boss. No?
Maybe.
Oh, you're right. It is season 30. Okay, that's my bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're recording this during season 30. The previous episode did just come out. Ignore what I said, but yeah. My Kryptonite is my best scoring team on Nightmare, so I'm probably playing that into Nightmare when I do this.
Based.
But looking at it also, I think it's interesting that Lockspring is weak to electric and physical. I kind of wasn't expecting that.
I mean, I love the physical weakness. I
Oh
always
yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
it's a good weakness to have. I just wasn't expecting it.
Finally, more
It's legally weak
agents.
to most.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say like, other than that, I don't have many other things. I don't like the boss. I like them mechanically, but if I were to put it with my or all the enemies, but if I were to put it with my account, it would just be incompatible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a rough one. That ice and ether resistance for Nightmare hits a lot of accounts pretty hard.
True.
It's
That's
like
why
the foundation
you're
of the
scoring.
game.
Oh wait. Speaking of the boss, did you try the monophysical?
As in Alice Jane Yuzuha,
Yeah.
I did try it. I remember it did something decent. I do not remember what that score was. I just know a 3-star.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will
That's all it
try
needs.
it again at some
take
point
it.
in the near future. Might end up
Yeah, 'cause
being
we were talking about.
yeah, it might end up being among my higher scoring teams because Alice is just Alice time field.
Alice.
Yeah. Alice is really strong.
It's Alice time, and it's her field. But yeah, I just remembered I asked you about it, or I talked about it last time.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, moving on to the buffs. We don't actually have a whole lot to talk about, but on the topic of Alice, the only unique buff that we haven't talked about yet that's in this ending is Artful, which is the premier Alice anomaly buff because it shreds defense for attribute anomaly and also defense for disorder, and also buffs physical damage and general damage percents, of which the agent that can use that pretty much to its full potential is Alice. Yanagi can also use most of it, she just doesn't get the physical damage because she's an electric character. But Death Shred is generally really good for Alice. The problem is also Primordial Nightmare is a half defense unit, so the Death Shred is not as good, and I think it kind of balances out for Alice, but I'll see how that plays out later.
Yeah.
yeah.
Otherwise, the other 3 buffs, Tempering Body is here again, so Tempering Body just exists in all 4 stages as the default buff, I suppose. Then we get Blazing Sweep again, which is the Arya and Vivian buff. and the return of Pinnacle for Generalist Rupture buff.
Huh.
And that's like pretty decent, I think, for most of these stages, because like you have one stage you can play Fire Rupture on with Miasmic Pteroraptor, and you have Thracian you can play Yi Xuan on if you have her, and then the Monato stage you could play Idhari on if you so choose. So if you have any one of, or like any of the Ruptures, then you have a stage that you can play Pinnacle on, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I definitely will do my high score on Nightmare then, because I definitely Corin and Yeshungang are basically both, and Necromata are really effective against Nightmare. So, but I prefer my Corin run, and I usually am decently prepared for this. So I will do my high score based on that, most likely. Unless it scores less than my Alice run on the Vesper boss. So yeah, this will be interesting.
I do have a feeling that I'm just generally going to score higher on Nightmare than Discordant Solo, but we'll see at some point.
Indeed.
And hopefully I will stream it and it will be great.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall,
but-
it was very fun, I think. Threshold Simulation is still something I love a lot, because you have to use different teams. And you can play around with it a lot. So yeah, it's a good game mode overall.
Yeah. The shortening of the game mode makes it a little bittersweet, but I think is a overall fine adjustment. Doesn't feel like it detracted too much from everything, and all of the stages seem pretty fair, and like beyond kind of planning around the bosses for each of the stage. Just kind of seems like a decent time overall if you're pretty horizontally invested, or if been playing for a long time. It's good stuff.
Absolutely.
We can pretty much end it off right there, unless anyone has any final notes they want to say.
Not really, honestly. On my part, at least. Do you?
I can't think of anything.
That's fine. Overall,
Then
Then
satisfied.
again, I can't think.
But you're satisfied
That-
with Threshold Simulation overall?
As a
Game mode, in general.
as someone trying to enjoy the game mode, yes. Looking at it from my perspective personally, no.
Fair enough! Absolutely fair enough.
But yeah, I didn't prepare anything like extra topics to talk about for it, so like I'm just kind of good. Although I will mention that I have the intention and the idea to attempt to play the entirety of this threshold, since the stage numbers went down and it cut out basically a whole five stage node. This basically means that with the first two stages being 4 teams each, and the last stage being 5 teams, the total number of agents that you can use in Threshold as a total is 39. If I did my math right, yeah, 12 plus 12, 24 plus 15, yeah, 39. So I have 37 total agents on my account, and I am going to attempt a full Threshold sweep challenge where I try to play every single stage without any overlapping agents or gear. Kind of similar to what I mentioned a while ago with how I did my DA benchmark. I would basically be doing that, but with Threshold Simulation, and I think it will be a more comprehensive test of my entire account, because I have almost the required number of agents to do it. But I will be pulling Nangong Yu, who was dripped in the recent drip marketing this weekend, or at the start of this weekend, rather. And I might go for Cecilia, but we'll see if I'm gonna be able to. I hope I can, but I want to. But in any case, yeah, that's a project that I'm going to be planning on. And if you guys are interested in maybe seeing some of my planning, and if I am actually not a lazy bum and actually do it, follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Savadra, where I will probably stream some of that process over time. And it will be pretty decent. I also upload on YouTube every now and again. But yeah, Thirsty, how about you? Where can we find you, Mr. Man?
So next to being on various Discord servers as like moderator, admin, or even owner, I'm also on YouTube doing like random things as Random Blood Gaming on my channel with battles, some funny shenanigans. I also do report videos where I judge the end game based on objective analytics with various different accounts from horizontal to vertical investment, as well as free to play and of course pay to win. And yeah, some other shenanigans overall and generally. Dio, how about you? I think we can find you on the Discord servers specifically, right?
I just live here.
Yeah, it just lives here. But you also do the Zenless fights. This is not right?
Well, yeah, technically.
Technically.
I mean, hasn't done anything in a month, so I guess legally I live there as well.
Don't worry about the specifics, okay? It's my fault. I'm bad, and yeah, it's my fault.
That's not how that works.
It's fine.
But yeah, I just live here. I don't know what these guys do. Something about some Chinese game. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
But yeah, if you wanna give us a chat, we exist in the Battle Hub Discord server, the English hub for PvP, as Blood mentioned. He is the owner. I am the co-owner. Dio is one of our fantastic moderators. And we also exist in various other places. But other than that, that's pretty much all we have for you today. So hopefully you enjoy this Threshold simulation. Hopefully you got something out of this episode, and we'll have a good time. And with that, we will be signing off. So you all take it easy. Have a good one.
I thought
Have a good one.
I think I thought I made it clear I didn't. But yeah, have a good one.
Cheers, everyone. Bye bye.